Hello grounded parents and carers, Sanela here. This is an impromptu video inspired by Karina's article, or the article that Karina shared in our group around the importance of building resilience in our kids. Now, the article is really good. If you haven't read it, find it. It has lots of good how-to tips of how to actually do it with your kids. Now, when Terry and I looked at it, obviously we came from a different perspective. We came from a perspective of who do we need to be as parents in order to effectively and continuously apply these how-tos. So this is about what personal work do we need to do ourselves as parents in order to make this teaching of resilience stick. Okay, so let's just frame this. So first of all, what do we mean by resilience? So the simplest definition of resilience that I have found is, and that I use with my clients, is really this ability to bounce back when we experience a setback. Simple as that. And I think it's really good to also frame this in a, what's the bigger picture? Why are we doing it? Why is it important? I think for me, the first thing is just recognizing that life is full of struggle, and we are wired, as humans, we are wired for struggle. So life gives us lots of opportunities, and it gives our kids lots of opportunities to rise up to a challenge and overcome these challenges. And the second thing, which is the basis of why resilience is important for kids, is that the only way we develop our sense of self-worth, that sense of that we can overcome something, the sense that we need to persevere in order to make something happen. That sort of thinking, that sense of self, is developed only by going through that process of trying, of failing, and getting up again. There is no other way to do it. So the first thing, and the kind of the overarching thing for developing resilience in kids, is to give kids a permission to fail. And when I read that, I'm kind of thinking, yeah, of course, I get that. I get that you can't learn anything if you do not fail. My logical brain gets that, and in some instances, of course, I follow that to a T. But I also, I know myself. I've been around for a while. I've been a parent for a while, and I know that it's not always easy. So, and I love this wording, to give a permission. And the first thing that I thought about is our ability to give permission to our kids to fail is very much dependent on our own attitude to failure. We cannot give what we do not have. So that's the first personal development work we need to do, is to ask ourselves, what do we feel? What is my attitude to failure? What do I believe failure to be? Okay? And then to look at my life, and also, my experience is that we all have our soft spots. So we have areas where failure is absolutely fine, and we kind of really have that positive, failure is learning. Like it may be that, like in your relationships, you understand that relationships are, to be worked on. You understand that, difficulties are to be expected, and you understand and believe in your ability to overcome them. And for example, on the other hand, if, keeping and maintaining a healthy lifestyle might be something that you struggle, and where you are quite harsh, and failure doesn't feel like learning. Failure feels like failure. So it is very good to be aware where and how failure shows in each area of our life. And then thirdly, we need to ask ourselves, we need to look into the messages that we receive from our parents, because we were kids once, and those messages about failure and what it looks like and what it means to fail might still be very present in the way we think. So those are the 3 questions that we would suggest you kind of look into. And by the way, we are going to put this into a worksheet, which might not be available today, but we'll put it out and put it on our website. So we'll let you know about that as well. So the second thing that we need to do as parents, and I need to read this one, is to separate our own self-worth as a parent from our children's accomplishments. This is a big one. This is a big one because I think on a rational level we get this, but I think this is so complex, and I've kind of pulled out 3 things that make this really complex. And I want to bring that on the table. I don't think there is an answer to this. It is really about being aware. Why does it happen? Why does it happen that we can sometimes move into the field of attaching our worth as parents to our kids' accomplishments? Okay, so the first thing is that we are biologically wired to ensure that our kids survive and thrive. First layer. Second layer, parenting does not have a scorecard. We do not have a feedback that tells us, hey, you are doing a good job, this is a good thing. So it is very easy, in absence of that, to look at our kids' progress and look at their accomplishments as a way of, a nod to say, yeah, you're doing good. And thirdly, when things do not go well, we are the first to blame. We are very much, parenting is one of the most judgment and blame prone arenas of our lives. So that's a fact. So it is complex, and knowing that, and I think we just need to be mindful of that complexity and understand that there are loads of traps in front of us that make it easy for us to identify our self-worth to the worth of to the accomplishment, or attach our self-worth to the accomplishment of our kids. Now, I found in that article or some other research I've done, I can't remember, is I found it useful to make a distinction between supporting and intruding or taking over. And I kind of reflected back on times when I struggled, and the question that I found most useful is to ask myself, is this about me or is this about them? And the kind of the act of asking that question can bring me back into the supporting role, rather than making the process of supporting them my own fight, if you like, my own thing. And the other personal work that, an ongoing personal work that we can do is to pay attention when we are supporting our kids, for them to do something that is important to them. Maybe they're trying to get into a sports club, or they're going for an audition, or maybe they're going for an exam, whatever that is, something that they care about, and we want them to succeed. They want to succeed, and we are in a supporting seat. What is really good to pay attention is your body, and to pay attention whether what is showing up in your body in terms of the struggle. Does it feel like a struggle, and how does it feel in your body? Because does your support feels very much like pushing instead of leading and encouraging and supporting? And what sort of thoughts go into your head? And I think I like to pay attention to these things, and I learn something all the time. So that's an ongoing thing. So that mindfulness and curiosity about what's going on for me, asking myself, is this really about them succeeding, or have I invested myself a little bit too heavily around that?